Hi guys, Sharon here tonight to have our Tuesday chat, our coffee break. And tonight is going to be interesting because I'm putting us, the district officials, under the spotlight. And the question that I said we're going to chat about tonight is how can we serve you better? Now, remember, I didn't say you must complain about our service. Obviously, our service will be inadequate because of the numbers that I'll explain to you later. But yeah, the whole idea is how can you help us and, just improve the support that we're offering you. I'm a district official. I have explained many a times that I'm working in one of the metros. I'm at Metro South Education District. And so the information that you give tonight will be helpful for me as well, because look, we're all in the same business. We all want our children to achieve. We want all our children to receive the best education, the highest quality education. We want to offer them the best teaching and learning experience. We would like to use different kinds of methods that will work for them. And of course, we would obviously use assessments to make sure that we can see and track whether we are making progress. So we are in this whole thing together. And I'm hoping that you'll give us some good advice, because I have a lot of my colleagues who come on and off on the live chats, and sometimes they would watch the replays. So whatever you're going to tell us tonight is going to be very useful, okay? So those of you who want to moan and groan, I suppose I can allow you to moan and groan, but we mustn't be sidetracked, because the ideas, this is now an opportunity for you to say, this is where I think you can improve. And then you give us practical strategies, practical examples, okay? Don't just say we need to visit your school more. I suppose you can say that and we'll happily come to your school. But if you need think of a specific area, because all of you have, you have specific subjects that you teach, or if you're at primary school, often you're teaching a range of subjects. So you may have, a specific request and ask for a curriculum advisor to come in, or you may be a school principal or one of the SMT members, and you may feel that you want either not only the circuit manager to come in, but you would like, say, for example, the people management person to come in and offer some support, offer some advice, mentor and coach whoever you feel will benefit from that support. Okay, so that is what the discussion is all about. I'm really, really looking forward to this. When I mentioned to colleagues, because we're busy with progression and promotion and progressions now, and so I am very blessed to see quite a few of our teachers coming through and our principals and SMT members. And then I mentioned to them, I'm going to discuss tonight, that I want to hear what the community is saying there in terms of what service and what support we must offer and how we need to offer that support. And then some of the principals need to be Sharon. The teachers are stressed at this point. They're going to nail you. And I said, no, the idea is not for you to nail me. The idea is to have a conversation. And I deliberately told my colleagues at the district as well. I said, listen, tonight we're under the spotlight, because I'm asking colleagues at schools to say, how can we up our game as district officials? Okay, so while you're thinking about that, let me just greet who came on board already. Keith Nikik is here. Thanks, Keith. And you made it. Yes, I see that you definitely made it tonight. No SGP meetings and listening exercises. And then, of course, Theola's here. Thanks, Theola. Zenith is here. And Nicole Lynn Frank is here as well. Thanks so much for joining us. And then, of course, Nicole is calling all kinds of people. She's calling Shelley and she's calling Linda. And, of course, Maria's here. Hi, Marie. Thanks for being a regular here. And I'm sure you're going to tell us, you're going to give us some advice. Tonight, we're looking for advice. We're asking you. We're on the couch tonight, and we're asking you to give us some advice on how can we strengthen this partnership between schools and the district. Okay, let me just see. Theola says, hi. Yes, I think I greeted you, Theola. Open communication and being approachable. Good. Thanks for that. Building relationships. This works with my CAs. Okay. So Theola saying, yes, we need to up our game in terms of communication. Theola, just if you say open communication, just give us some ideas. What do you mean by open communication? Just for clarity, so that we understand, because my understanding of open communication may be that I'm going to send you the circulars and I'm going to send you, internal memos from my department, and I would see that as open communication. So perhaps just try and identify it or clarify it for us. And then, of course, Stacey Lee Lewis is here. Hi, Stacey. Lovely to have you here. I can't recall if you visited us before. I hope I can watch it all. Otherwise, I'll catch the replay. Yes, do that. The replay is always available. Okay. So what I've thought, what I'll offer while you're thinking of things to say, because I'm sure you are bursting at the seams. Remember, most educators, most teachers, and even principals see district officials as some foreign being, some alien, like we just coming to the schools to look for problems, and we just want to nitpick. And I'm not saying that we don't do that. Obviously, you'll tell us to what extent we are overdoing it in those areas. And so we haven't really succeeded in building a good relationship, a healthy relationship between ourselves and the schools. And like I said, we are actually the interface between the provincial education department, head office, for example, and the school. So we are the drivers of the delivery service or support service that we offer. So we've got a dual role, across the board for all officials. We have our roles and responsibilities. We do have a compliance mandate. In other words, we are policy implementers, right? Head office develops the policy and we implement the policy. And so the schools, of course, we have to ensure that implementation is taking place at the schools, and the schools have to ensure that they comply with the policies, okay? So whatever policies are there, we should comply with the policies, and so should you. So that is one part of our jobs, right? That we have this compliance mandate. I suppose some people will probably say that it's like the inspectorate role that we have, and that is a critical role, right? We have to be monitors, we have to be evaluators, we have to ensure that we are enforcing those policies, because the policies are there to help keep us all on track and ensure that there's uniformity, standardization across the province. Okay, so we cannot contravene the policies, and part of our job is to ensure that that happens. And then the other important role that we play is one of support. In other words, our developmental role. And the developmental role will include mentoring, coaching, giving people advice, offering training workshops, if that is the form of support that we're offering. So that there is already a tension between those two roles. And so it's not easy for district officials to balance, to strike a balance between the compliance and the developmental role. So some of us tend to become, we tend to be too compliant, and I don't know how many of us are too developmental. That is what you must tell us tonight. Okay, so I'm just trying that in there. Let me just see if I've got some ideas coming through here. Keith says, we found that there's a breakdown between curriculum advisors and WCD with regard to moderation. The dispute centers around internal moderation that the school does with the blessing of WCD, but not that of our CAs, our curriculum advisors or subject advisors. Keith, thank you for that point. I I hope that some of the subject advisors will see that, because that will be interesting. Are you saying that you're following the WCED guidelines and that a few of our subject advisors are not in agreement with the fact that you are complying with the policy or the guideline? Perhaps just a little bit more information, but point taken. And then Sakina Dolly is here. Hi, Sharon. She says, hi, Sakina. Yes, you thought we'll meet at some cafe or something, right? And here we are tonight in front of the in front of our monitors or on our phones. And then this is just a point of clarity. Walter, thanks, Walter, for joining. Look, I interrupt myself here. Fiona says, CAs would always say at the end of a workshop or meeting, if you struggle or need advice, please make contact via email and phone calls. So educators must do exactly that. District officials do pop in and ask if help is needed. However, we should also seek advice. Fiona, thanks for that. That's an important point. Remember, it's a two-way street. So we are available. We are legally supposed to be available. And then, of course, just in terms of our obligation, in terms of the support role we play, we should be there when schools require us to help. And like Theola says, I don't know how many of you actually phone the officials or drop an email, or I know some officials like the WhatsApp communication as well. Whether you liaise with us, whether you communicate your your questions, your queries directly to us, so that we can address those issues. Don't wait for us to come to your school and then we talk about one issue which may not be your immediate need. So I like that Theola just said now. Thanks, Adrian, for joining all the way from, I'm not going to say, you first have to tell me again where it is you are. Thanks for joining us tonight. Keith just gave us some clarification here. Our CAs prefer that we not moderate during the year, and WCED, yes, one prefers that we do. Are we not one department? Yes, Keith, we are one department, and you should moderate during the year. Okay, so perhaps, you know what, Keith, you like dialogue, and you like to have clarity. So I would suggest that you actually speak to to the subject advisors, and just, try to figure out what is the point of contention, and see if you guys can resolve it like that, because we may have different ways of doing things, but the policy guides us in terms of what should really be applied. So I would suggest that you check, and we definitely one department. You belong to the same department that I belong to. We have one goal in mind, and that is to make sure that all the learners get quality education, right? So, yeah. And then, of course, Tanya joined us. Hi, Tanya. Thanks for coming online. Okay, then Walter speaks, and Walter says moderation should happen throughout the year. Yes, Walter's also one of the ex-HO officials, so he'll be able to help. Okay, so Keith, yes, I would think you should just take it up. Okay, let's see. All right, I think I've exhausted all the questions. Zenith also joined. Hi, Zenith, thanks for joining. And then I want to make sure that I'm not missing out on anybody. No. Okay, so yes, the idea tonight is, guys, just give us advice. Okay, you can ask questions as well, like Keith did there, and Theola gave us some advice. Just tell us, how can we improve our support to you? Now, just a reality check, okay? I'm going to use our district as a frame of reference. Apologies. We have 214 schools, and I'm speaking under correction because my director may just be listening as well. Okay, we have 214 schools according to my records from the people management component. And we have about 5,000 teachers, right? And as a district, we have about 160 officials. That's all of us, okay? Now, at the district, you have the curriculum component. You have the SLES component. The SLES component would be our social workers, all the therapists. and learner support. Then we have the management and governance component that I belong to. So I have there's a component called people management, and then we have corporate. And in corporate, you will have supply chain and finance. Okay. So the 160 officials are spread across those four components. So if you just look at the numbers, practically we are not able to reach all the schools on a regular basis. But there's very clear policy from the WCD in terms of school visits. So the officials should visit schools at least once per term, right? So you'll find that your circuit managers will visit your school at least once a term. And I'm speaking out of correction, but I'm not sure whether the curriculum advisors have whether they have to follow that same rule. Okay. So if you think in terms of, school visits, we are 160 officials. Let's take curriculum. Curriculum, we have 9 circuits, so there will be one foundation phase subject advisor attached to a circuit. Now, each circuit will have about 20 to 25 schools. So you can already see the numbers. If you have one subject advisor, how's that subject advisor going to be able to offer the intensive support that you perhaps need? Okay. And so our rule of thumb is, and in fact, this is what we are required to do, that when schools require intensive support, especially schools that are not doing so well, then your subject advisors and all other officials will then deepen their support at that school. And the schools that are coping well or relatively well, those schools will not get as many visits as the schools that are underperforming. Okay. But now here's the thing. If you are at a school that is regarded as a high-performing school or a well-performing school, then, and you feel that you need the support, whether it's curriculum, whether it's finance, whether it's people management, whatever support you require, you have, as the Ola said, you have direct access to us. Okay, so you can drop us an email. If there's protocol involved, where you first have to let your principal know, that you need to, you would like to call on whichever district official it is, then follow that protocol and let the message come to us so that we can come and support you. Okay? Because really, we really, really want to support the schools, and we want to make sure that the support is effective, that we can sustain the support, and that that you benefit from the support that we give. Okay, so here I go again, talking too much. Yes, let's see. Natasha's here as well. Thank you, Natasha, for joining. Right. Any other things that you want to say? So, yes, I thought let me just give you that context, not to defend our role and the support that we are giving, because the question tonight that we want to tackle is, how can we deepen the support, right? How can we collaborate in a way that benefits you? Because as soon as we help you get something out of the way or point you in the right direction, then you will basically fly after that. You perhaps just need us to get rid of something, or you need us to come and explain some content or whatever, or policy, whatever you need, you have to articulate that. And then whoever's supposed to provide that support must come in to provide that support. Okay. Yes. Let's see. Bugan, thank you for coming, and it was lovely being in your company the whole of Saturday morning. Let's see what Bugan says. Hi, Sharon. Sometimes CS come across as strict and instructional. Not all. Some of my CS are absolutely brilliant, and sometimes it puts you as a new educator immediately on the back foot, and we are afraid to make mistakes and try new things. CA should be advised you more, not only to instruct and listen to your ideas as to why work in the class. I hope you understand what. Yes, I think I hear what you are trying to say, that Some of us may not be too approachable, and we make you freeze, and that you just close up. You don't want to open up. So that's some good advice that you're giving, because perhaps some of us are not even aware that we are, that we are aloof and that we're hostile and that we're trying to go into expert role all the time. Now, you would expect as a teacher that the district official has a level of expertise in the area that he or she is operating, right? That, I think that is a given. But that doesn't mean that your district official should go into this authoritarian role and start dictating. That is not how one builds up support. So that's something that we can think about. Bugan, thanks so much for that. Natasha says, always love these learnings. Thanks, Natasha. And Alistair's here as well. Thank you, Alistair, all the way from Constantia Primary. Kid says, I don't understand why Metro South can even ask what they can do to improve support. Your initiative is the best support that I've seen from a Metro. I've received more support from you than I've ever experienced from Metro. This is that you do is bringing support closer to home. You should be paid more. Thank you, Keith. I like that part that I must be paid more. Right, thank you so much. Yes. Now let us move on to that. If we say that that we only have in the district on average about 160 officials, and we say if you take the need would be probably curriculum wise for your primary school, you have 9 CAs, right? For the foundation phase, and then for your intermediate phase, you would have another 9. But remember, your intermediate phase subject advisors are specialists, subject specialists. So that means you may just have one natural science subject advisor that must service the grade or support grade 4 to grade 9. Now that's a huge, it's almost impossible, and it's not practical for one person to serve or to support in our district. If we have 214 minus about 65 high schools, right? The balance is primary schools. So practically, like I said earlier, it's not really possible to get your district officials coming in all the time to your school. But I also want to add to that and say that doesn't stop you from calling us in, right? You should ask us. Now, tied to that point is, what do you think can help? Now, Keith had just mentioned that he likes the live streams because he's learning a lot. So I use this platform because it gives me access to educators, and it gives more people access to information, when we share information and so forth, and you can also help guide here. And so what can we do if we want to deepen our support? What platforms can we use? What communication channels can we use? I know people are using WhatsApp. Help us, guide us, because there are digital tools that we can use, right? There are platforms like Facebook, and Facebook is not the only social media platform that we can use, right? There are other things. There's OneDrive, which is also a cloud service offered by Microsoft. It's similar to Google Drive. You get Google Hangouts, you get video conferencing tools. I'm asking you to give us some ideas and tell us, listen, you may not be physically able to come to my school, but now perhaps can we explore this way where I can get some personalized support? Okay? Yes, talking, that's a typical me. All right, thank you, Keith, for that. Keith and I were very, very good buddies when we were teaching together at Grassy Park High School, and he's just done an amazing job there. And of course, Westerford graduate. Right? Theola is agreeing with Keith, and then of course Faik joined. Faik, welcome. I think it's the first time you're joining us, and congratulations on your principalship. I'm not sure where you are the principal, but well done. I think you're going to do amazing work at the new school that you're at, and I'm glad that you joined us. So tell us how we can help you, okay? Right. So give me some ideas now. Besides school visits that we do, besides the training workshops that we run, okay, and let me just throw in here, let me just discuss the training workshops, because this is my view. Training workshops are basically just information sessions, okay, unless we have chosen to delve into one area. But every meeting that we have with you is not a training workshop, okay? It's perhaps an information sharing session. So we'll run through a lot of stuff. But I'm also aware that there are what they call curriculum strengthening forums where where teachers will meet with the subject advisors and have deep curriculum or teaching and learning discussions. But training, we need to just be careful. Sometimes I think we could be giving more meetings than actually intensive training. So my question is, the big question tonight is, how can we help you and ourselves start building a better partnership where we offer the support where you need it? Okay, is it a difficult question? Because the way people were talking today, I thought, we're not here to slice each other up. We're not here to murder each other. We actually want to know, and it's only when you know where you can offer the support that you are able to go in there and assist. And even then, when officials go in, it's not you ask me to talk about, let me rather use my own area as a people management coordinator now. If you ask me, for example, to come in, and which a school is, quite a few schools have done, come in and talk to us again about continuing professional teacher development, the CPTD, then I won't make assumptions that I need to go and say, you have 3 types of activities and that. I will incorporate that. But the one thing I will ask the school is, what specific area do you want me to zoom in on? Because I'm not sure. I can't just assume that you want me to give you the whole context of CPTD. Perhaps you just want me to help you and your teachers get onto the system. And then I come and I give this elaborate discussion because I have a smart PowerPoint that I want to share. Are you with me? You need to be specific about the kind of advice that you're looking for. And so in that way, I try to make sure that I'm answering or that I'm going to respond to the question or to the need that the school has identified. Okay, so I'm asking you to give us some ideas. Brian Chapters here as well. Hi, Brian. Thanks. Nice to have you here. See you tomorrow when we do our strat planning. And the Theola says, on that note, can the circular and the calendar not be shared with all educators? Sometimes this information gets lost in translation. Theola, your circulars must be shared with you. If you're talking about the WCD circulars or any circular if you're from another province, your circulars, schools are legally bound to share the circulars. Now, the circulars could be mailed to you because at this point, I'm hoping that most teachers have an active email address. So principals can mail the circular to the teachers. And some schools actually still do the signing in. So if you're talking about the WCD circulars, you must have access to that. And there are certain circulars where it will be mentioned that teachers need to get the circular and they need to sign for it. So in certain cases, you actually, even though you use the electronic way of distributing the circular, you may be required to sign, okay? And then the calendar, so you must just clarify for me, the calendar that you're talking about, if you're talking about the WCD calendar, the calendar is shared with all the schools and it comes via registry. And so you should have access to that. So if it's not happening, then your schools could even mail the planning calendar because the planning calendar comes out quite early, right? It's already out for 2020. It's been out for a while. And if you don't have it at school, well, try to get it at school. But if you don't have it at school, the WCD website is accessible to everybody, right? So you can actually take it off there as well. In my case, what I do is, and for those of you who are new to the channel, I run a Google Drive. I use Google Drive because I use that cloud service, that online service where I put most of the documents that schools require, right? And I have explained it sort of helps school be less dependent on me on a form and rather use my support for something better than to run after me for a form. So it's accessible 24/7. And then I also drop the WCD calendar in there. So I would have my own people management calendar, our management and governance calendar in there, and then I'll also drop in the the WCD calendar. All right. So theologists try to explain that to us, and then Nicole says this is true. Sometimes we miss things because it is given to us too late. Yeah. Nicole, if I were you, and this is what I did when I was at school, I would personally visit the WCD website, right, to check on the circulars. And so you'll find all the circulars there. You don't actually have to be, that's the other thing, you guys need to just equip yourselves and go onto the website and find the circulars and the minutes. And in that way, you can empower yourself and arm yourself with information as well, especially if there is if the system in terms of distributing those circulars and minutes are not streamlined at your school, then I would suggest go to the WCD website, but that doesn't exonerate, it doesn't take away the responsibility of your principal to ensure that you get those documents, okay? But if you are a teacher, it's very good to use whichever province you're in. Go to your own education department's website and all the circulars are there. I visit KZN's education department's site. I go to Gauteng's site because I like to see what other provinces are doing and what kind of information they are putting out there for their schools. In fact, I found very useful financial manual information. I think it was on the KZN site. So browse around. You guys have the internet, so empower yourselves. Okay, and then Keith says I have enough. I like that. Not to run a restaurant only, but the workshops are expensive and not accessible to everyone. While they are good works, I'm sure that these can be duplicated by the metros to make it more accessible. Yes, Keith, I'm not even aware of, is it Arista or Arista? Perhaps you can give me more information offline as well if you want to. And then, and then we'll explore that. But the workshops are very expensive if we don't run it. Service providers are expensive. It's really expensive, but sometimes I'm of the view that if it's a good service and you won't get that information in that compact way, in a distilled way, where you go back with information that you can use immediately, and you have references that you can make use of after the workshop, then I'll say sometimes it's money well spent, So yeah, I'm very curious to see what they have to offer. And then of course the other says we've Metro South Google Calendar. Yes, in Metro South we have a Google Calendar that we share with all the schools. And so all the schools, that is the director's initiative. So all the schools can see what is what is on offer at the district. Yeah. Anything else? Okay, good gracious, guys, don't disappoint me. I thought I'm sure if I said tell us what we're not doing, then you would have gone until tomorrow morning. But we're looking for solutions. Okay, so yes. Anything else? How many of you? Perhaps this I need to just I'll throw them quickly. How many of you are comfortable with this kind of live streaming, and how many of you would encourage us as a collective, as districts, to exploit this kind of communication, which is not really personalized. Well, in our case, I try to personalize it as far as possible by acknowledging people on the stream. But now imagine you've got 100 or 200 people, then you won't be able to, you will be able to greet a few people, but not everybody. So can something like this work? Are some of us using the videos on WhatsApp, for example? Are you guys using Zoom, and is it working for you? Okay, give some ideas. Brian, you haven't said anything. Bryn is here as well. Hi, Bryn. Thanks for joining. Alice is just quiet. Everybody's sort of sitting there and not saying anything. And okay, I'm scrolling up again to see who else seen it. I think I greeted you already. Right. What else can we say? If there's perhaps what I can underscore is whatever you need to know. It doesn't matter how trivial you think that question is going to be or that query. Make a point of asking us. We are not judgmental, or we are not supposed to be judgmental. If you want to ask a question, don't say, I'm going to sound stupid. That's not the idea. You want us to help you get an answer to the question so that you can move on with your life, right? So I was explaining that to a principal the other day, because I said to her, when schools ask me about something in the area that I'm working in, that's people management. If somebody asks me a question, I work from the premise that question is important, the question is valuable, and I need to respond to the question. Right? I treat the question with that respect, because no adult, this is what I believe, no adult will ask a question just to be funny. No adult will ask a question which you regard as a silly question. The person is asking the question because that person needs an answer. No adult will drop an email or make a phone call or send a WhatsApp message to ask you a silly question. So we as the officials, I think generally don't dismiss your questions, right? And if we do, then perhaps we need to then revisit our own approach to teachers. And then you need to be bold enough to say, Sharon, perhaps we need to discuss how we can, have a sort of a more harmonious relationship in terms of this, because I'm asking questions and it's not because I'm trying to be funny or I'm trying to trick you. I really need to get that information so that I can free myself up and do other things. Okay? But you need to help us as the officials. We're not little gods. We just have a particular role to play, and it is a managing role. We do manage, and it is a support role, and it is a leadership role. Remember, we're in a leadership role. So we need to lead. If we're asking you to lead, we also need to lead. Okay, all right, let's see. Fiaola, also when going to meetings, the presenters must really prepare. Good, thank you for that. Example, I once questioned something on a PowerPoint. The person replied, well, this isn't really my PowerPoint. It's not a good answer. It's frustrating to be in a meeting and workshop and you're not getting anything of value. All you can think of is the traffic home. And I love attending workshops and meetings. However, presenters must be prepared. Thank you for that advice, Theola. Yes, that is what we need to remember, that time is precious, people's time is precious, and you're coming there because you want to learn something and you want to interact with information. So we need to be prepared. I like that. I'm not even going to say anything else about it. And Keith is telling us about the Arista workshops are 1,000 Rand a pop and around at Crystal Towers. Oh, it's at Crystal Towers. That's what's also so expensive, and deal with very topical issues. They are amazing and informative, but I just feel that many teachers are missing out due to cost. Yes, sometimes the costs are prohibitive, Keith, and then we can't go in there. But I'd like to explore that. Felicia Luchaba. Hi, Felicia. Thanks for coming. How about getting notification when you're live so that we can be able to share information with our colleagues, to watch your videos, because there are quite a lot of people that are missing it. Thanks, Felicia. Felicia, I am currently, if you following School Corridor, then I think I was told by my colleague you get a notification. And then I try to be consistent in terms of coming on every Tuesday at 7:30. Okay, that time may change in the new year, but currently I'm running consistently on a Tuesday at 7:30, and I do flight a flyer very late, I know. Maybe on a Sunday evening, then I'll send put an event on School Corridor. So that's sort of the notification that I give. But thanks for that, and thanks for saying that quite a few people are missing out. I'm glad that you're getting some value out of this. Okay, and then Arthur, Preston, Joy. Arthur, you've been boycotting us. We want some advice. Tell us how we are supposed to help the schools, the district officials. Arthur is the principal of Sweet Valley, and I just love what Arthur's doing at this school. And then, of course, Barry Skulls joined as well. Okay, so for those of you who joined late, the question tonight is that I think perhaps that stumped you a bit, because you need to be positive tonight. It's nothing about you didn't do this and you didn't do that. The question is, how can you help us as district officials to support you better? Okay, we have a partnership. We are in the business of helping each other, because our client, not the client, but yeah, the client, let's say the client, we all use this business speak. The children are our focus, and we must give them the best education that we can offer. And we, as the district officials, our role is to support you. That's part of our mandate. And then we also have a mandate to ensure that you are complying with all policies, right? So we are policy monitors and evaluators. We are the policy implementers, and you are the policy implementers at your school, right? And so we need to strike a balance. We can't sort of lean towards just being policy implementers, right? We've got a very clear role around support, and that is what I wanted to discuss tonight. How can you help us to offer better support, given the fact that we have a human resource issue, a challenge in terms of numbers. So our capacity, our human resource capacity is limited. And I use, for those of you who just joined, I said, take Metro South Education District that I'm connected to. We have 214 schools, and we only have 160 officials. We only have 9 subject advisors, 9 subject advisors for foundation phase, and 9 subject advisors for the intermediate and senior phase. Okay, and then of course we have but 160 primary schools, I think we have. I'm speaking under correction. Okay, so that is the big question. Thanks, Felicia. So now I'm looking for advice. I'm asking you to tell us, how do we reach you? What can we do? Right? Should we take advantage of the tech tools that we have nowadays? Tell us. Or are you also not using the tech tools, so you don't want to advise us to use it? Okay, you can only learn. I started out on the live stream. I mean, really pleased now. Even now, I'm still battling. But sometimes we might just go in there and face our fears, like I'm facing my fears. Just face your fears and try these vehicles. Because how else are we going to, reach each other if we know we've got limited people, officials, to move into the schools, and you really need the officials to help you, right? So one I got from the talk there is that sometimes our attitude is wrong, and so that I would agree. Yes, we need to work on our attitude. That's me included, because you never know when you bombastic and just being autocratic, or sometimes you just avoid conflict and you stay out of everything. You don't want to tell schools where they should improve and where they can improve, because you're too scared to offend. So we either go to the various ends of that continuum, which is also a problem. So I take that point, and then of course the point is that we need to prepare presentations well, and we need to the presentations need to be focused, and they need to speak to issues that you want to address. I, I, I take that point, and I'm sure my colleagues will also. And then other points. Keith mentioned about sometimes we may not be following the WCED prescripts, the policies, and that is a concern because we are the policy implementers. So that's something that we I suggested Keith that that he picks up on that point as well. Clifford joined as well. Hi Clifford, thanks for coming first time. Need to raise my school corridor. Cup here to say thanks so much. Okay, and then Theola says e-classroom is great to share information. So guys, try that, and then we'll also try that. I'll try that. Will that help me in people management, Theola? Okay, I'll explore that option. Guys, if you're not going to share, I'm shocked. Let me just tell you, I'm shocked. Okay, I'll tell you why I'm shocked. Because everybody was expecting the session to be so explosive. Everybody that I spoke with said, you're taking a big chance. And I said, let Sharon know it. I'm going to go in there and we're going to chat about it. Because we can't just talk about the schools, right? But now you're not even helping me. So tomorrow, whoever watches this will say, oh no, we're too scared to talk here. I don't want names. I just wanted advice. Okay, so if you're not going to speak any further, we're not going to drag this out. I just want to say, if you have ideas, think of specific things that you want, that you need. And then number one, we are legally obliged to assist you. We are legally obliged to support you. We are legally obliged to ensure that you implement all policies. So you are not asking something extra of any of the officials when you're looking for support, right? If you're looking for a document, you don't know where to find it, it is our duty to point you in the right direction. We can't tell you that document was sent to you by registry. We can say that, but if we're really talking about our support, we should actually just send it or find a central point a storage point where we can place the document, like Google Drive or OneDrive or any other. Dropbox is another cloud service that people use. Okay, that's the one thing. And then I'm just sorry for this. I'm just scrolling to see if people post any comments. Walter says, Shannon, if the official would just stop to listen to what teachers are experiencing without just offering opinions and advice, it would be a good start. Thanks, Walter, for that. That's true, because sometimes we just want to be the expert in the room. And I have to also stop myself sometimes because you almost want to read into what people are saying, and then you want to give them the answer, or you want to give advice, and they wouldn't even asking that. Sometimes people just want to talk and listen. So I'm really working on that, not just offering the advice, because then it means you're actually being arrogant by imagining that you have all the answers, right? But especially if it's not a content question. Thanks, Walter, for that. Anthony says, hi, Anthony, all the way from Swanswyk. Was nice to see you. I posted the pic. Great topic, Shannon. The program is already a great supportive initiative. Thank you, Anthony. Yes, I like that. Yes, I like the idea that people actually find these live streams helpful. Okay, but help us in other ways as well, because that is a big question. I always, and I'm using myself as an example so that I don't get into any kind of legal wrangle here with people who may, colleagues who may think that I'm putting my foot in. But just to point at my own, and also to use from my own example, is one, like I said, I use Google Drive, but I'd like to know from schools, and I often put out to schools, let me know how I can help. It's amazing how many people don't say what they need. Some schools will phone me and tell me. And when I send information, one of the things I do is schools like to, because I've been approachable and open, and they've gotten to know me, I think over the 2.5 years in the district, the schools are now, they will send me messages. For example, some of the schools will tell me, Shannon, you left out this document, you asked us to bring all this, did you forget about that? And so that's what I like. And I think that is what we need to strengthen, that I need to strengthen myself in terms of getting people so comfortable that you can say, look, I'm really struggling with this and I really need help with that. Please, can you assist? Okay. And teachers, I know there's still the class visit protocol in place, and that is still enforced by one of our teacher unions. But that doesn't stop teachers from asking the subject advisors, to come into the class and just do observation. And then if you're fearful of the person really just too critical or negative, you can actually say, I actually just want you to come to my class to look at this particular aspect that I'm teaching. Okay, this is what I want you to comment on. This is what I need from you. Okay, yeah. And then Warda, they're rather late because I'm busy wrapping up. Nobody wants to talk about the officials tonight. Warda. Warda's also an official. She's the head of the therapists in our district. Very progressive official. Well, for me, that's obviously some bias, but also some objectivity. And so Warda is very approachable to her therapist, right? And then Chris Banjo, thanks Chris for coming. I'm not sure, are you a first timer? So we have to raise the school corridor mug. It's like, welcome to the club, okay? Right, so guys, if you're not going to say anything further, like I said, district officials are there to support you. If you're having challenges in terms of our attitude, in terms of our knowledge base, in terms of our communication that we are using, then let us know about it. Let us know. Because we can't make demands on schools and we are not critically looking at the level of support that we're giving as well. Okay, I'm not saying we must be nasty with each other, because I personally, I suppose, I don't think I'll take too kindly if somebody's going to speak, down to me, and you rather say, I'd like that information. We just need to learn how to phrase things differently. And the more you ask us, the more we're going to give, okay? And yeah, that's about it. I want that. Okay, so listen, I'm not going to delay this and drag out the session. I suppose I can just end and say that bear in mind that the officials do have an official mandate. We are an extension of head office, and we are definitely the only link between head office and the schools. And so you must take advantage of us, right? In of course, in a positive way, in a way that you can help yourself and help us grow. Remember, we also need to grow. So if you don't help us grow, we're never going to grow, other than just what we perceive as our own growth. Okay, so I would advise you, one, try to strengthen the relationship between you and the district officials. And two is that if you do have certain issues, try to find a way to communicate that information so that we're aware of it. For example, you may be coming to all my workshops and then you may find that it's a waste of your time, and nobody knows that, So instead of saying, Shannon, that was just useless information that you gave, drop an email. I'm just giving an example here. Drop an email and say, I like that one point that you mentioned at minute number 1 in your workshop, but perhaps we can explore these other points in workshops. It's all about how we communicate that information. Okay, so we need to learn to be open, have open communication, dialogue, and I personally think that we need to explore our digital tools as well. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to say thank you for being in the house. I was again doing most of the talking, but I must say we got some good ideas. Then people were bold enough to say what we need to look at. So I'm going to share that with my colleagues, and hopefully when we chat again, you'll give us some more advice. So I'd like you to spend the rest of the Tuesday evening just having fun And remember, School Corridors here to grow, inspire, and empower ourselves. Okay. And that is why this platform exists. So, cheerio. Good night.